In this video, we're going to be using Revoice Pro to create vocal harmonies and vocal doubles in the context of a pop rock ballad. The reality is sometimes you only have one vocal to work with, like if a singer just sends you their lead vocal without any double tracked parts or any harmonies. And this is where Revoice Pro can be an absolute Swiss Army knife in getting the production sounding premium and much fuller than it would with just a single lead vocal. First off, let's have a listen to the end of the second chorus in this song, going into the post-chorus section where she begins to vocalize.
Yes, I'm waiting for heaven to call me home.
So you can hear after the chorus, she goes into singing this do-do-do-do, and this is right before the final chorus of the song. And the last thing I want at this point is for the track to lose its power, its richness, its momentum. And in my opinion, the vocalizing by itself on one track just sounds a bit empty. We don't want the song to fall to pieces at this point because the sound is too dry. So what we're gonna do is use Revoice Pro to get a doubling effect. So let's pull up Revoice Pro Link and capture our vocal so it's in the plugin. Now, when we pull up Revoice Pro, the vocal will already be there. So let's label this track as lead vocal and the next one as double. Now let's press the B key to bring up the create new process window. And we don't want to match timing and pitch. Right now, we just want to change this to doubler. And as you can see, we have a bunch of different presets to choose from. Now, this is important. I want the stereo spread at this point. There are plenty of times you might want to choose a mono setting, but that's not what we're doing here. So let's pick a stereo preset and create new process. Now, if we compare the dry vocal before and after, this is what we've done. Now, if we click this bar up here, we're able to see the process controls, which give us even more options. And because channel 1 controls the left and channel 2 controls the right, we can go in and adjust the average delay, frequency, and formant shift on both the left and right to get even more of a stereo spread. The beautiful thing about creating doubles in Revoice Pro as opposed to just a regular doubler plugin is how natural it ends up sounding. You'll notice in the interface, it creates an average delay time. And what this means is it makes it sound a lot more real, like two genuine different takes are happening concurrently as opposed to just copying one take and giving it just a static delay and pitch shift. This plugin ends up behaving and sounding much more similar to two actual vocal takes. Now let's import this back into our session by holding Option Shift and dragging it in. We'll create a new stereo track, and instead of replacing our initial mono track completely, what we're going to do is feather in this new stereo double in parallel.
Me home.
Big difference. Now, my issue with this in a slow tempo ballad like this song is if we repeat this vocalizing section of the song twice without changing anything, it gets kind of boring. We wouldn't be building anything for the listener and we risk losing their attention when it plays the second time round. So what we're going to do is use Revoice Pro to create a harmony, which we're going to bring in only for the second pass. So let's go back to Revoice Pro to the original lead vocal that we exported. Option Shift drag the lead vocal down to create a new track, keep the original timecode, and rename this new track Harmony. Right click on the track, scroll down to adjust pitch timing level, and I'm going to go in here and make sure everything is really kind of auto-tuned. I'm not really opposed to hard tuning harmonies or backing vocals because I care less about a harmony sounding natural than I do about its ability to complement the lead vocal in a way that sounds melodically beautiful. When we're tuning lead vocals, it's a completely different thing. But for a harmony, I really don't mind being more aggressive. So first things first, I'm going to highlight all the notes, press K and bring the pitch correction right up. And if we make sure the selector tool is on, we can highlight the notes, hold down Option and move them to the note that we want to create the harmony. For this harmony, I'm going to choose thirds below, which will mean 3 to 4 semitones lower depending on the note we're on and the key we're in. If you don't have a strong understanding of music theory and creating harmonies, you'll just need to listen back in context to see whether it's sounding good or dissonant with your chord progression. And as you can see, after I've moved the notes, there are all these discrepancies. So what I'm going to do is take the draw tool and draw over them to reduce some of the vibrato and even out the notes a little. Sounding good? The only thing that I want to change after this, before importing the harmony back into the project, is the formant of the harmony. Because this is a lower vocal, I want to bring the formant down a touch, because that way it'll sound a little bit more like two separate singers, not just like we've pitch shifted the lead. So let's right click on the track, choose Edit Shift of Formants, and drag this formant bar down by a few percent. And the final thing I want to do is make sure that I'm still thinking about the stereo spread I created with the original vocal double. So instead of leaving this harmony simply as a mono track, I'm going to right click, edit time and pitch, again press the key B, and create a new process of this harmony track onto a new output, which I'm going to select doubler for. This way I have a vocal harmony double instead of just a single mono track. And when we import this track back in, I'm going to cut off the first half and mute, because remember, I only want the harmony coming in halfway through this section. So now let's listen to the whole thing in the context of the track with the vocal mixing in place too.
Me home.
Remember, these are just a couple of ways you can use Revoice Pro. For the purposes of this song, I just needed a simple vocal double and a backing vocal harmony. But depending on what you need to do, pitch correction, formant shifts, creating doubles, Revoice Pro is an absolute Swiss Army knife, and not just for vocals. You can use it on anything.